Well, hello there my fellow rushers, how are you doing today? King Rex here, and today we're continuing on our hero review series in Kingdom Rush Alliance. Last time we talked about Onagro, and I got a lot of mixed opinions on him. Some people like him, some people dislike him. Yeah, he's kind of a hard hero to rank, but we're gonna be making a tier list soon enough. But first of all, we have 3 more heroes to go beforehand. And next hero is quite interesting, Warhead. Seek and destroy. Yep, we have a mecha up in here. So yeah, how good is Warhead? Well, let's talk about him. First of all, as per usual, the base stats. So he only has 335 HP, which isn't all that much. I mean, come on, Raylan has more HP than this guy. Raylan! But on the other hand, his armor is really high. It's the funny number. No, deadass. He has 69% armor. I'm not making this up. Look into the code for yourself and see. It's 69%. I don't know why. I'm not sure if it's intentional or not, but come on now, Ironhide. I see what you're doing in there. As far as its basic attack goes, it's kind of weak. It only deals between 15 to 23 physical damage, but he does have 1 second attack speed. So he kind of hits pretty fast, but his punches are very weak. I mean, you don't expect this out of a literal mecha. You think he'll be packing a little bit more of a punch, but no. I mean, you can say Anya had low base damage, but she had a faster attack speed and her attacks hit twice. While with this guy, I don't know. He's kind of like, the best way to describe him is Raylan, but more AoE. And yeah, let's talk about him. But first of all, I forgot to mention his mobility. Normally, he moves pretty slowly, but he does have a fast travel. Just like similar to Anya and Grimson, he has fast travel, so if you move him across a large distance, he's gonna be zooming, which is really good for a tank. Because at the end of the day, that's what he's supposed to be, a tank. With a lot of area damage. And his first ability just does that. Deep Impact. Jumps over an enemy, stunning it for 2 seconds and dealing 60 physical damage in an area. Honestly, kind of a bad ability. I know what you're saying. But Rexy, it's physical damage and it stuns the target. How could it be bad? Well, for one reason only. It kinda has the Darwin syndrome. Now, if you've played Iron Marines before, you probably know who Darwin is. If not, basically this hero had one specific attack that was a pound. That was like a pound attack. Basically, he would just jump into an enemy, do some area damage, and continue fighting. And that could be bad, especially if you manage to get him low on HP and you want to retreat him. You have to put him extra far, otherwise he's just gonna use Deep Impact, jump into an enemy, and die. So, in other words, he's the only hero that can intentionally int on you. But then again, the ability does have 15 seconds cooldown, it can proc pretty often. So, if you get him low on HP and you have Deep Impact upgraded, make sure he's as far in the back as possible, because you don't want him to jump into death, alright? I've had this happen to me a couple of times and it's not fun to deal with. Moving on to the Smoke Screen. Fires a cannon full of fiery embers, dealing 88 to 132 physical damage and slowing enemies for 5 seconds. Now, this is arguably his best ability. Now, it does have 25 seconds cooldown, don't get me wrong, but 88 to 132 physical damage is quite decent. And the slow lasts for 5 seconds, and it's a pretty average slow, 50%, which is like what most slows in the game are, so nothing too special, but the area it covers is humongous. Like, it has one of the biggest AoEs in the game, in my opinion, excluding ultimate abilities, of course. Honestly, pretty good ability, not gonna lie. I wish it dealt a little bit more damage, but hey, it is what it is. Moving on to his next ability, Immolation. Generates a fiery blast that deals 36 to 108 explosive damage to enemies and burns them for 4 seconds, burning deals 3 damage per second. Yeah. This ability is iffy, to say the least. It does happen pretty often for some reason though. It has a whopping 20 seconds cooldown. So it's not like a really long cooldown ability, but what I don't like about it is the base damage. 36 to 108 explosive damage is just way too big of a difference for my liking. That's more than 2 times the difference between his lowest and highest potential damage on this ability. Not to mention that it requires him it requires 3 enemies to be in range. Like, you're not gonna be able to proc it as often as you think, unless he's literally in the middle of a horde of enemies constantly. And the burn afterwards doesn't do much either, like 3 damage per second. 3 damage, really. Yeah, Immolation is not his greatest ability by far. Could have been better. Moving on to his last normal ability, Iron Uppercut. Strikes an enemy with less than 40% health, finishing it instantly. So, an insta-kill. The only problem is, just like Grimson, the insta-kill is very, very misleading. It does have a pretty short cooldown though, 26 seconds, which is kinda nice for an insta-kill. The problem is, you can't insta-kill every single enemy. You can only insta-kill up to a certain group of enemies. So for example, you can't just uppercut an abomination into oblivion, you can't just one-tap a Vile Spawner or a Blade Claw, you know, some of the more threatening enemies. You can only do it to low to mid-tier enemies. And that's can be a bit underwhelming. But at least it's better than Grimson's insta-kill, because for him you have to get the enemy below 20% health. For Warhead, it's only 40%, so the insta-kill does bring a little bit more value in my opinion. Still a bit lacking, but it's an insta-kill nonetheless, so I guess we'll take it. And last but not least, we have his ultimate, Motherhead. Summons the war wagon that travels through the path, dealing 160 damage to enemies and burning them for 4 seconds. Burning deals 4 damage per second. Now, the number is very, very misleading, because I think the description is bugged. Because, let me show you. Let me just upgrade everything else real quick. But yeah, let's see. 80 damage. 160. 160 again. What? Yeah, I think what happened is Motherhead's description got duplicated somehow, so the number is not correct. In reality, Motherhead deals 260 physical damage at tier 3, which is a really high amount. And it works in a similar way to the Death Rider, where he just goes through the entire path, and it does a crap ton. Now, the only downside to this ability is its physical damage, so heavily armored enemies are not gonna take as much damage, but you do have a little bit of burn to add on to it, just in case. And yeah, overall, not terrible, but I don't know. Warhead is just a questionable hero in my eyes. On one hand I like him, on the other I feel like he could be much better. So yeah, there he is. Look at that. 335 HP, atrocious damage 15 to 23, but fast attack speed, and 69% armor. As you can see, mobility-wise, pretty slow. Very slow, in fact. But if we put him all the way over there, he just uses his jetpack and just goes brr. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool, not gonna lie. Alright, let's make up a choke point real quick. So we're gonna do the usual ballista. No, you can never go wrong with a ballista. So let's put you here, you there, and let's go. Go Warhead, go. Let's see him in action. So first of all, here's the deep impact. Boop, stuns an enemy, starts beating the crap out of him. Here's the immolation, but again, inconsistent damage. Here's the uppercut, yeet! Pop he goes. Pretty nice, right? Okay, here's the AoE thingy. As you can see, it covers a massive area of the path. Like, that's a big area. But you might have noticed one thing. It does have a blind spot a little bit in front of him. So, if an enemy is like really close to you, they may or may not get hit. So, that's a bit annoying. But for the most part, he does pretty well. The only downside to him is, he doesn't really have good single target damage. Besides the insta-kill. But then again, the insta-kill can only affect certain enemies, so if you're against like a really high tier enemy, you can't insta-kill him, and you're kinda just stuck there fighting them. So that's a bit annoying. But, if you ever get overrun by enemies, you can always rely on one simple ability. The Motherhead! Look at it go, look at that go. That's an impossible mod, by the way. Look at how much health these guys lost. They almost died from the ultimate. And it went from here all the way to there. So, it doesn't quite cover the whole path, but it covers like the majority of it, which is pretty good. Oh, no, sir, you're not passing through. Sorry, that ain't happening. But yeah, the only downside to him that I can find is he doesn't really do anything versus flying enemies, which is kind of unfortunate. I always feel like a melee hero should have at least 1 or 2 abilities that do stuff versus flying enemies, but that's never the case. which is kind of sad. I mean, as you can see, he literally can't do anything versus this guy, and we're gonna leak to it. Because, you know, Sag. Unfortunate. Get better, my guy. But yeah, it is what it is. Overall, Warhead is decent. Not my personal favorite hero, but he's definitely strong. Don't underestimate Warhead. Just because he looks boring, he's actually really strong. I'll give him a solid 8.5 out of 10. He's good. Okay, maybe not 8.5, I would say 8. Again, if he was able to hit flying enemies, and maybe if his single target damage was just a tad bit better, or if his insta-kill was able to insta-kill, well, anything, he would be really strong. But I feel like he's relatively well balanced for a $5 character. Will I recommend buying him though? I don't know. I guess if you like his playstyle and it suits you, then by all means purchase him. But if it was up to me, I would probably second guess myself before buying him. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about Warhead. And with that out of the way, that's gonna do it for today's video. Thank you everybody so much for watching. I appreciate you for sticking around to the end. Subscribe if you want to see more of this content in the future. And while you're at it, drop a like on the video. It means a lot to me. And I will see you in the next video. Until it comes, that was King Rexy. Over and out.